Oh, hey, didn't see you there. That's corny as crap. That's a 90s intro for you. Hi, I'm Joe. Let's get into the seriousness. So I'm going to be doing a series, probably. A weekly series, every day or two a week, maybe. Called Story Time, as you can see by the title of the video. I am really stopped up, as you can see by the title of the video. Story Time. So, my time as a student aide or teacher aide, whatever you call them, like kids in college that help out teachers, or that job shadow teachers, a little more than a job shadow, but I guess you could call it that. Students that job shadow teachers that want to be teachers. I hope to do YouTube full time now, that's my thing, but back when I was in college, I'm only 20 years old, by the way, I'm not going to college right now, but back when I was in college, I believe it was 2017. Oh, by the way, before I start this, let me know if you guys want more story time videos. So, like, just comment like a topic or an idea below, like what was the scariest moment in your life, or what was the best moment in your life, or what was the worst injury you ever had, and I'll tell you a story about it. So yeah, so let's get into it. My time as a teacher, age, student, job shadower, person thingy. So I believe it was just turning winter or getting out of winter. I think it was fall going into winter of 2017. One of my Ivy Tech classes required me to job shadow a teacher for, I believe it was a total of I don't know, 16 hours or something like that. I think it was like 16 hours of job shadowing a teacher, and I went for 2 hours once every week or 2 weeks. I can't remember, but once a week or every 2 weeks, I would go for 2 hours out of one of the days. It was usually like on a Wednesday, I think. And I used to work at Dave's Pizza back then. I think for that span of time, yeah, when I did that. So I went to the middle school here in Danville, Indiana. I went to the middle school. It's 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and I wanted to be a history teacher. So I would naturally choose. I naturally chose to job shadow a history teacher. I forget his name, but he was this like 49, 50, maybe 55-year-old, real nice guy, just a history teacher for 8th grade. Yes, it was for 8th grade, because 5th grade is downstairs, 6th grade is up, 7th grade is downstairs, 8th grade is up. That's how that school was structured. So I went to job shadow him, and it was reach 16 hours. The requirements were like reach 16 hours of job shadowing, I think. And there was a checklist I had to complete too, like present a PowerPoint or hand out flashcards, play games with the kids to get them associated with what they were studying at the time. And it was the scariest but a really fun experience. And I remember the night before my first time going, I dressed up all nice, had this real nice long sleeve shirt on, and I folded the sleeves to about here. And beforehand, I got in contact with the school. I went to the school and I said, hey, I was wondering if I could job shadow some kids here. And I had to talk to the assistant principal, I believe, Mr. Rector. And he knows my dad. He knew my dad when I went to school. That's where I went to school for middle school. And I knew him, and he knew me. He's like, so your dad still making Gatorade? I had to talk to him. It was kind of like an interview to see if I could go into the school, because you have to have a background check and everything when you do that type of stuff. So he knew my dad works at PepsiCo and stuff. He's like, so your dad still makes Gatorade? And I'm like, yeah. And then when he said that, I remember it kind of eased the tension, because it was almost like I was getting interviewed to be a teacher. It was pretty intimidating. I remember I walked in there and was all professional, and then once he asked if my dad still makes Gatorade, all that stress went away, and we just talked. We just spoke to each other. And so after that, he said, all right, we'll let you know. And I did the background check, and yep, got in. So first day I went down to the office that morning. It was about 9 o'clock-ish. It was about 8 o'clock. Went in, got my guest ID picture and everything. It took 2 seconds to do it. Printed off, put it on my shirt, and walked upstairs to the 8th grade side. Went to his class, and I was very, 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 very nervous going in because I've never done anything like that to that magnitude, and I was going to be teaching the class as opposed to him teaching. I mean, he was going to teach and run it and structure it, but it was mostly me doing all of it. So you can imagine how pretty intimidating that is. And so I went in, and all the kids' heads turned, the boys and the girls, and they looked at me, and I had to act all formal and stuff. I had my duffel bag with everything I needed inside, set it down. I had like a notepad, pencil and paper and whatnot, and obviously the stuff from Ivy Tech, the objectives and whatnot to do when you're job shadowing a teacher, and all my information I needed, all the things I had from my class for Ivy Tech. Sat down and I greeted him, said hi to the kids, and he did like the morning bell ringer question, and then we got into it and stuff. Not like an argument, but I started, and I think what was the first thing I did with them? I think I went around and I introduced myself first off. Stood in front of the class, introduced myself. I stood in the back corner of the class, sat in the back corner of the class, but I introduced myself in the back because I just set my stuff down. He said, "Hey, you want to introduce yourself?" I said, "Yeah, blah, 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 blah," and, so then it was really nice. It was really, really, really nice being back in that school because I had a lot of memories, a lot of memories in that school, in that middle school. It was the time of my life was that in high school. I miss it, I really do. But I introduced myself and whatnot. I think the first thing I did was they were studying for, well, I wrote down the bell ringer. Everything he would do and write down, I would write down, even if I didn't need it, just because. And we'll get to the part where I messed up 2 times, and it was bad. It was really, really, really bad. Not super unbearably bad, but it was pretty embarrassing. So we did all that, did the bell ringer, and I walked around and asked if they had any questions and helped them with questions and whatnot. And I would stand out in the hall with him too. When he would stand out in the hall and the kids would come to class, or they'd go to lunch and leave, I'd stand out in the hall, talk to him, talk to the other teachers. And it's a little nerve-wracking because you feel like you're the lowest of the low in terms of power. You are, because you don't work there. I'm just job shadowing. And it was fun though, it really was. And so that day went by, I went to classes, that day was over. I was like, woo, I did it, I can do it again. Then I came back, I think it was a week later. I can't remember if it was every week or 2 weeks. I'm sure I have that paper still somewhere. But then came back the next week, and I think it was the second time I came. Second or third time I came. I think I went a total of like 5, 6 times. Oh no. I think I went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One of the days, I don't know if it was 16 hours to do total, but I did like 5 days of 2 hours, and then I did like longer days to where I could just get it done. He's like, "How about you just stay for like an hour extra, and then you can just knock it out?" I said, "Okay." I think it was 16 hours. I stayed 5 times for 2 hours. That's 10, and then the last 2 times I stayed for 3 hours just to get it done with. And I said, "Okay, that works." So I remember the second or third time I went in, I got my badge and everything in the office, did that. And as I was heading towards his classroom, oh my gosh, that was funny. I remember hearing clap, 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 clap. And I'm like, okay, who's running? Someone's running. I can't remember if I turned around or if it was ahead of me. I think I turned around, and I see this little boy sprinting, absolutely sprinting down the hall. I'm like, whoa. And then I see this teacher, this girl, completely out of breath, probably chasing him forever, sprints near me. She says, "Can you please stop him, please? Can you stop him?" And I was just frozen. With not fear, but I was just frozen. I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is weird. I didn't do anything. It was just one of those moments where I just froze up. I don't know why. But he ran off, and eventually, as I was walking towards the classroom, I saw him. He had like rounded into the office, and she like had to not really tackle him, but get him down on the ground, and that was weird. That was kind of funny. I don't know if he was like special needs or anything, but maybe he's just a bratty kid. I don't know. But anyway, I went up to went up to the classroom, and I think this was the first time I messed up. It might have been the third time when I saw that kid running and everything, because the last time, whether it was the first or second time, or whatever, he asked, I told him, the teacher, I said, one of my objectives in the class, in the requirements is I either do like a PowerPoint or I make a board game or something. And I'm like, PowerPoint's easier, so I wanted to do that. And he said, okay, we're currently doing this chapter on like Julius Caesar or something. And he said, can you make a PowerPoint over like a few bits of information over chapter 5 or 6? And I said, yeah, I can do that. And I remember I had it ready and made, and I walked into the classroom, said hi to the class, everything, and then they were about to learn from my PowerPoint. And right as we're looking at the PowerPoint, this is one of the embarrassing things. Right as we're looking at the PowerPoint, he says, all right, can you open up that chapter in the book so we can compare your PowerPoint to the book to see if it's accurate and stuff? I said, yeah. My PowerPoint was like over chapter 6, and it really needed to be covered like over chapter 5 or whatever. I did a PowerPoint over the complete wrong chapter. I remember I got so red. I turned to her and I'm like, oh no, what are we going to do? I did a PowerPoint over the wrong chapter. And he said, no, that's fine. Don't worry about it. I said, okay. And then he had a backup plan for it. So that all went well. And then, I helped the kids, talked to the kids. Some of the kids were made friends with them. And actually, it was about not a year ago, about 8-9 months ago, I was on my skateboard at South Elementary. And one of the kids in that class saw me, and he's like, hey, I remember you. I'm like, yeah, I know. And I actually don't think it was 8th grade. I think it was 6th grade. Take it back. I think I was job shadowing a 6th grade teacher. But it was upstairs, so it was either 6th or 8th. But I think it was 6th. Yeah, I think. Maybe. I don't know. But, yeah, it was definitely 6th. That kid was young. He was in the class, and I was skateboarding. He rode by on his bike. He's like, hey, you're that teacher assistant guy, aren't you? I'm like, yeah. And we talked and whatever. But I made some, I wouldn't say friends, because they're a little too young to be friends. It's a little weird. But acquaintances, and they're nice little kids. They were not bratty at all. So I did that, messed up on the PowerPoint, and did that, and that day was over, and then went again and just helped him with everything, helped pass out papers, read off names, which is kind of nerve-wracking. Like, I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. Read off names of like homework or tests, pass them out to kids, and just everything a teacher would do, I did with him. And so it was fun being back at that school and whatnot, but very intimidating because job shadowing a teacher is not the easiest thing. If I have confidence public speaking, no problem with it, but doing something like that for the first time is nerve-wracking regardless. So, and then the second time I messed up on the PowerPoint was, he said, you do this chapter, and for some reason I messed up again and did the wrong chapter again. And this time I wasn't going to admit I did the wrong chapter. I just pretended to him that I couldn't pull up the thing. I'm like, oh, it's not working on the computer. I can't get my file up, which I shouldn't have lied. But I didn't want to be like, oh, I did the wrong chapter again. That would have been bad. So I just said, I can't pull it up. It's not letting me. I don't know. I sent it, and it's here, but it's not pulling. We said, that's fine. We'll do something else. And I remember, I don't know if it was one of my PowerPoints on the last day or what, but I did a PowerPoint over, I think, like old weaponry and whatnot, and I made a life-size model of a spear that Romans used to use, and I looked it up online. I said, how big was a Roman sword back then or whatever, and I used a bunch of rulers to make it as big as it was in the classroom, which was like 2.5, 3 meters long. It was ridiculously huge, maybe even 4 meters. Then I cut out like a paper spear and put it on the end. I'm like, this is how big it would be, and back then, and they liked that. And then the last day I said my goodbyes, and so yeah, that was my time as a teacher aide, and very fun, but also nerve-wracking, but rewarding because there's experience in that. And I think once you break the ice on talking to a whole classroom of kids and to the teacher, I think day by day, the more I went, it was just got better and better. And it was nice because the compliments, like, hey, you're doing good, you're teaching kids, and yeah, I mean, it's okay, yeah, not bad. So that was the first story time, my time as a teacher assistant. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe. I think I'm going to do another story time right now, back to back. So, yeah. So let me cut this video, and I'll probably post these two today as of August 8th, is it the 8th? I think it is. So I will see you in the next video. Yeah, see you guys later.